Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. It's all about education. Today we are going to learn C++ programming and we are going to learn structure of C++ programming today along with the programming example. So let us see how actually a program is executed, how actually it is typed. Fine. So before writing a program and executing it, we must know the structure of the program, right? So we are learning C++ program, so we'll learn the structure of C++ program only. So first one is, so in the structure, these are the steps to be followed. Fine. So the first step is preprocessor directive. Second one is global variable declaration. Third one main function. Fourth one pair of flower bracket. Fifth one declaration of statements. Fine. Now let us learn all these in detail. Fine. So coming with our preprocessor directives. So what is this preprocessor directive? So this statement, it begins with a hash symbol. Fine. It must always begin with a hash symbol and it tells the compiler to include the particular file from C++ library to the program. Fine. So this statement, preprocessor directives, it must always start with a hash symbol. Fine. And it tells the compiler to include the particular file. Like suppose you're using some mathematical functions in your program, you must include math.h. Fine. That's your header file. So it includes in the processor directive includes the math.h file, and whenever you'll have the function call, that is your square root function or something like that, this will be accessed through your math.h. This is just an example. Fine. So it tells the compiler to include the particular file from the C++ library to the program. Fine. Hope you understood. So example is hash include iostream.h, and iostream.h is written in angular brackets. Fine. So what is the function of this particular header file is, it is used for input and output statements. Now we are going to learn what are those input and output statements. Fine. So I is for input, O is for output. So it's input output stream. Fine. So this must be included in all our programs whenever we use input and output statements. Fine. Our second thing is global variable declaration. So what is global variable declaration? The variables which are declared before the main function. Fine. All the variables which are declared before the main function is nothing but, that process is nothing but your global variable declaration. Now we say global variable declaration is the variables declared before the main function. Okay. Now but what is this main function? Now the third one is the main function itself. So what is main function? Every C++ program, it must begin with an inbuilt function called main function. So all your C++ programs, they must always begin with an inbuilt function. That's your main function. This main function, it helps to, again, like your preprocessor directives. So whatever you'll have, your square root function or any function, whichever the functions are there to be followed in your programming, for all those program functions, this is the main function. So this is an inbuilt function and it must always begin, the program, it must always begin with the main function. Fine. Next, fourth one is pair of flower brackets. So in the punctuators, I have said you what's the use of this, and your even I have said for our preprocessor directives and main function also, right? So these are all used. So those are compulsory punctuators. That's why we learn all the basics and then we come to the program. Fine. So a pair of flower brackets. So opening flower bracket, it indicates the beginning of a program, and closing flower bracket, it indicates the end of a program. Fine. And our fifth one is declaration and statements. So what is this declaration and statements? Declaration indicates to declare the variables which are required to a program. Fine. Declarations, it indicates that like suppose to solve a problem, like to solve an addition problem. Let us take an example of an addition problem. So to solve an addition problem in C++, we require three variables, A, B, C. So we add A and B and we store the resulting output in our C. So we require three variables there. So we declare the variables. Fine. So we declare the variables. That's nothing but your declaration. Next, coming to the statements part. So the statements include input, output and computation statements, like your execution statements, input statements and output statements. All these are statements. Fine. So this is all about your C++ structure. Fine. Now we'll learn a programming example directly in our C++ compiler. Fine. So let us start with our programming now. Now here we are into our compiler now. So let us start our programming now. Fine. So here let us begin with our program. So first, whenever you start writing a program, your preprocessor directives is the first thing, right? So how do you write them is #include iostream.h. Fine. For this, no semicolon, you're not terminating. That's not a statement. That's the preprocessor directives. Fine. And second thing is your void main. Here whenever you execute a program, you include another header file called conio.h, which supports your input and output statements, which we are going to write now. Fine. So here we are going to write our input and output statements. So we need conio.h. Fine. And next we are coming with our void main function, right? Main function is required. Now here the second step was global variable declaration, but we are not declaring any variables before the main function now. So I have not written any variables there. Directly coming to the main function. Fine. So here, since void is a keyword, it's highlighted in your white color. Fine. And next, after main function, we are going to start with our flower bracket. That's the indication of opening the program. Now starting with the declaration and statements. So first I'll declare my variables. Now we are doing addition problem. Fine. So A, B, C. I need three variables here. That's nothing but your A, B, C. Now we are doing addition problem here. So I need two input variables, one output variable. A and B for adding, C is for output. Fine. So next we are going to use our cout statements. Fine. So what's my cout statements? It's console output statement. Like we for the program, to take the output, we use this. There is an output screen which comes when after we execute, right? To get the output, we use this cout statements. Fine. And we also use this lesser than symbol, right? Two lesser than symbol I'm using. So this is nothing but your insertion operator. Fine. This is also known as insertion operator. We'll be learning that in the chapter 3, input output operators. Fine. Till then you can remember that you'll have to use two lesser than symbols. Fine. For your output. And output statements, they must always be enclosed within your double quotes. Fine. So I want my output to be enter two numbers. Fine. For adding, and then at the end my semicolon for statement ending, right? I'll end my statement with this semicolon. Next, cin, that is which we have to give. This is nothing but your extraction operator. Fine. Cout is insertion operator, cin is your extraction operator. Fine. Don't get confused, you'll have to remember these two. Fine. These are two greater than symbols, that's all. And I need to insert two I need to insert two values there, right? So A and B are my input variables, so you will be writing them. Fine. And then next you have C is equal to, now coming to the logical part, means these things neither we are giving nor the user is giving nor the compiler is taking. Here the compiler is executing the statement now. So C is equal to, we need addition, right? So C is equal to A plus B. That means initialization is done with the right hand side first. A plus B, they will be added first, and then that value will be assigned to our C, to the LHS part. Fine. Then C out. After adding what it should print as sum is equal to, right? It should print as sum is equal to, and then it should print the value of C, and finally ending with the semicolon. Fine. Now we are going to close the set of statements. Fine. So here I have included my conio.h, but I have not written any statements for it. All these are for my iostream.h only. So here, after the variable declaration itself, we are going to write CLR SCR. That is used for clearing the screen. So you can take many outputs without getting any confusion. So for each and every output, it will clear the screen. Fine. And here, after this statement, you are going to write getch. Fine. For the formatting to be done properly, we use the CLR and getch for our output screen. That is the main function. So these two statements, they are operated by your conio.h. That's why we must include the conio.h header file, or else these two statements will not work. Fine. And after this, after writing the set of statements, now I have closed my flower bracket, means I am ending my program. Now what I'll do is, I'll click on F9. Then it immediately starts compiling my program. It checks for the errors. If you have no errors, it will show you 0 and 0. No warnings also. In the warnings and errors, you will have 0. Fine. And next, I should press Ctrl plus F9 for execution. Fine. So it says enter two numbers. So I'll enter my numbers as 2 plus 8. Now we know 2 plus 8 is 10, right? So the output must be 10. So now I have entered 2 space 8. Now these two variables, 2 will be stored in A, 8 will be stored in B. Now when I click on enter, this sum will be 10. This is how your programming works. Fine. After this, now how to go back to my screen? I'll just click on enter. That's all. When I click on enter, I come back to my programming screen. Fine. So this is how you this is how you do your programming. This is the very basic program. Fine. So thank you. Have a good day.